Paget, do you waive a record in Mr. King's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. King, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Reginald King, on or about May 29th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, this information further alleges that before the commission of this offense, that you, Reginald King, on May 23rd of 2016, May 23rd of 2016, in County Court at Law number 3 of Jefferson County, Texas, in cause number 310689, that you were convicted of the offense of driving while intoxicated, and that conviction became final prior to the commission of this offense. Now, Mr. King, is that true? Now, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Mr. King, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials, RAK, on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
I also have a document on paper that's titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. King, are you a citizen of the United States?
Stay up for stage one.
Any
No
objection?
objections to stage one.
No objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Paget, you advised and counseled Mr. King. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. King, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Okay. Mr. King, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
For plea of no contest, the state has offered 180 days probate over 18 months with a $1,000 fine, 80 hours community service, the installation of an interlock device, and DWI second standard conditions, which include the mandatory 72 hours to start on May 24th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
What is this court cost?
$492.
Okay. Mr. King, the state is offering that you serve 180 days Jefferson County Jail. This 180 days will be probated. You'll be on probation for 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine of $100, a standard fine of $1,000. You'll be required to pay court costs of $392. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 a month, your analysis fee of $15 a month, a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI Education an initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $168 a month. Will you be able to pay the $168 each month?
Yes.
You will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. You'll be required to install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. You'll be required to attend and complete the drug intervention program. Was that on there? Because I don't see the box checked
I'm
off.
sorry, what's one on there?
The drug intervention program.
It's a standard position, but
I-
if you need to check.
Just on there.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty sure
It
that's
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't checked.
standard, the DWI second.
Okay.
conditions.
And you also be required to serve 72 hours in the Jefferson County Jail, beginning on May 24th, 2024, at or before 6 p.m. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. King, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. King, this will conclude your case. You're going to stand in front of the coordinator next to the bailiff, follow the bailiff directions. And once you're finished following the bailiff directions, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yeah, it's very good. I finished.
Judge, Mr. Burbank office called and said he's in trial in Terrence County.
Okay, well, we got it.
We're gonna release that, so no?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay. I don't follow them. Let me do something. Hello? Not even. Oh. Mhm.
Okay, next case, next two cases are cause numbers 23 CC 0308 and cause number 23 CC 0309. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Roberto Romero. Good morning. Mr. Romero, your full name is Roberto Romero? Mr. Romero, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Romero, you may put your hand down. How are you doing? You doing good? That's fine. Mr. Romero, you represented in your case. On your case is by your attorney, Attorney Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, how are you doing?
Doing great, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Romero's cases?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Romero, in cause number 23 CCCR 0308, I have before me an information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, Mr. Romero, it alleges that you, Roberto Romero, on or about April 14th, 2022, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed a Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Romero, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Romero, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
I believe it's a class, I think they agreed that it reduced it to a Class B. What about that?
That's not in the paperwork.
It's not in there, but I didn't do it.
I think it was.
So it's supposed to be the first. What is?
But y'all need more time to talk, because I don't see it in the paperwork.
Let me just check.
Just hold on a minute. You have, how many folks are here for Mr. Tom Burbank? Raise your right hand. Okay, your attorney, Mr. Burbank, is in trial in Hardin County, so therefore he can't be here at the same time. And so your case have to be reset. Has to be reset. Okay? So the bailiff is gonna bring you your resets. Once you bring your resets, you're free to go and you have a blessed day, okay? Okay, we just found out about that just a few minutes ago, that he's in trial.
I'm sorry.
He gets this.
Yeah, the one,
That's true. Okay. Okay, so the court is back in session to cause number 23 CCCR 0308, case style, State of Texas versus Roberto Romero. Mr. Romero was previously sworn in. And now, Mr. Romero, I'm going to go back over this information with you. And this information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office reads as follows. Information cause number 23 CCCR 0308 alleges that you, Roberto Romero, on or about April 14th, 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Romero, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Romero, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Mr. Romero, I also have before me a document on this tablet, two documents on this tablet. First document is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment that is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page, okay, the wrong box is checked. You gotta check the class A, you gotta erase that.
Well, it's
The class A. That's how it's in
for
the,
class A misdemeanor.
yeah, it's just a class. That's how they have it in the code, in the penal code. It's a class A misdemeanor.
But it's not a DWI set.
No, it's just a class A misdemeanor. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, Mr. Romero, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, also labeled State's Exhibit number 1. You recognize this document? Now, the box that's checked, you previously had another box. The box that's checked states that this is a Class A misdemeanor, and the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is confinement in the Jefferson County Jail that does not exceed 1 year, or a fine that does not exceed $4,000, or you could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor? All right. On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. The initials are RR. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this a signature and initials? Are these your initials and your signature? On the next document is titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. Romero, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over? Is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Romero, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have,
States one.
any objections?
No
States one?
objection.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you advised and counseled Mr. Romero. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
And Mr. Romero, your attorney, Mr. Hall has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Okay, Mr. Romero, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
For plead guilty, the state has offered 180 days probate over 1 year with a $500 fine, 60 hours community service, installation of an interlock device, and DWI standard conditions of probation. In addition, with this plea bargain offer, the state will be dismissing cause number 23 CCCR 0309.
What's the court cost in this case?
377.
$377?
Yes.
$377. Let me see, hold on a minute. That's 100 plus 500. Mr. Romero, the state is offering that you serve 180 days Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for a 1-year period. During the 1-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay DPS fine of $100, standard fine of $500. You'll be required to pay court costs, $377, probation fee of $60 a month, reimbursement fee of $15 a month. A urinalysis fee of $15 a month and a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education and admission evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total month installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $172 a month. Will you be able to pay the $172 each month? You will also be required to install the interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend and complete a DWI education class, have an alcohol assessment. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. And the state will be dismissing cause number 23CCCR 0309. Mr. Romero, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Romero, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Romero, you're going to stand in front of the court coordinator, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, and following the directions of the bailiff, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. I'm signing his dismissal. Okay, dismissal is coming. Any pre-votes?
Ready, Ron. With the three votes from Paula?
Mr. Kenny Prevost, Your Honor.
Okay. Jefferson County Court Law number 2 is in session in 2 cases. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Kenny J. Prevost. Mr. Prevost, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Prevost, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Prevost, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Prevost? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Prevost, you're represented in your cases by your attorney, Attorney James Padgett. Attorney Padgett, how are you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Padgett. Do you waive the record in Mr. Prevost's cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Prevost, I have before me a document that is titled Information in Cause Number 23CCCR 0053. This information alleges that you, Kenny James Prevost, on or about August 29th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense, possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2A. Mr. Prevost, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Prevost, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? But you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily? No, you pleaded no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges. You pleaded no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Okay. Now, Mr. Prevost, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contingere, which means no contest. The initials are KP. You place your initials on this document. On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have another document that's titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prevost, before you signed any initial these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Padgett, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that Mr. Padgett went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prevost, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State,
For States 1.
any
No
objections?
States 1, Your
No
Honor.
objection. States Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Padgett, you've advised and counseled Mr. Prevost. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
And Mr. Prevost, your attorney, Mr. Padgett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prevost, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial, I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
The agreement is for a plea to no contest. The state has offered 1 year deferred probation with a $500 fine and 40 hours community service on the possession case. The state will be dismissing the UCW case for forfeiture.
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
What is this court cost?
277.
277. They got a crime that fee? Okay, thanks. Okay, Mr. Prevost, in cause number 23 CCC R 0053, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a crime lab fee of $100, a fine of $500. You'll be required to pay a court cost of $277, probation fee of $6 a month, your analysis fee of $15 a month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $163 a month. Will you be able to pay the $163 a month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. The state will be dismissing cause number 23CCR 0052 for forfeiture of the weapon in that case. And I have before me a document that is titled Motion to Forfeit. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, before you sign this document, did your attorney go over this document with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And do you want the court to grant this motion to forfeit the weapon to the Port Arthur Police Department? Okay, motion will be granted. Okay, now, Mr. Prevost, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Mr. Prevost, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Prevost, if you successfully complete this probation, the case will be dismissed. It will not result in conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite confident in those matters. Mr. Prevost, this will conclude your case. You're going to stand in front of the court coordinator and follow the directions of the bailiff. Once you finish following the directions of the bailiff, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. And Mr. Paget, you have Miss Brunson.
Yeah, she's on. Zoom.
That's on Zoom.
Thank you. Sure. You want her to sit down? You know?
I'm pretty well.
Okay. You want to sit? Come on over here. I'm used to taking them stuff.
Okay.
Always. Right. Ms. Brunson on Zoom, Your Honor.
We have bond conditions in this case. It's a harassment. Okay, so let me see. Let me see.
In the Dallas area, greater Dallas area.
Oh, God, that's where she stands.
It's in the greater Dallas metropolitan area. I don't think it's Dallas.
This is,
proper.
this is the announcement. Okay.
It is, Your Honor.
Let's see. Oh, there it is.
I didn't say anybody.
Okay.
What's that?
No, he has.
Oh, okay.
We gotta put it back on the announcement.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, how long it hadn't made the announcement. Okay, let's see, this is cause number. Okay, the court is in session in cause numbers 23 CCCR 1878. Case is style of state of Texas versus Nyasha Brunson. Ms. Brunson is appearing via Zoom. Ms. Brunson, you can take your mic off of mute. Ms. Brunson, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Ms. Brunson?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Brunson, you represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney James Paget. And now, Mr. Paget, I noticed that Ms. Brunson did not have any bond conditions in her case. I have to give Ms. Brunson some bond conditions once you finish making your announcement. And Mr. Paget, what is your announcement in Ms. Brunson's case?
Your Honor, we have not reviewed discovery as of today, so once we get discovery reviewed, I'll be able to make my announcement. If you could give us maybe, I would ask for maybe 45 days because my client does live about 5 hours away,
She said.
just to give her a little time to get off from work.
Okay.
We'll be prepared to make our announcement.
Okay. Could you give us a 45-day reset? Is that good for you?
July 19th, Ms. Brunson, would that give you enough time to make arrangements?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, okay, this is gonna be reset to July 19th, 2024. Ms. Brunson, your attorney and your bondsman will be given notice of your reset date. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. Now, before we let you go, I have some standard bond conditions that I need to go over with you. And I have those bond conditions in my hand. We'll give a copy to your attorney. The attorney could send these bond conditions to you. And it states, standard bond conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Following return of a criminal information in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and a test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
Now, condition number 4 does not apply because it only applies in a DWI case. Your case is not a DWI case. However, condition number 5 does apply. Condition number 5 states, defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.077, of the Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Brunson, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. You'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so your case has been reset till July 19, 2024. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. Thanks for being patient with us. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day. And I guess congratulations are in order. I see you had a picture of you graduating. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay, congratulations.
Master's degree.
Thank you.
And you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks for
Okay.
saying that.
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Make sure I have bond conditions in this. Mrs. Berry. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number 23 CCCR 1142. Case is styled in the state of Texas versus Devondrick Jermaine Berry. Ms. Berry, Mr. Berry, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Berry?
No, I,
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I don't see any bond conditions in here. Okay. Now, Mr. Berry, I see that you're charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon in this case, and you have a felony case, is that correct?
sir, no.
Now, your felony case was set today as well, is that correct? Your felony case has been reset.
Yes, sir.
You have a copy of the okay,
Yes.
you can give it to the Yeah. And what's that court date?
June 3rd.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Berry, your misdemeanor case will be reset with your felony case. Where's the state? Okay. State, do you have any objections resetting Mr. Berry's misdemeanor case with his felony? No objections?
No.
Okay, now, Mr. Berry, your misdemeanor case will be set on the same date of your felony case. On that date that your case is set, or that your cases are set, you need to first appear here in court and check in with the bailiff.
Yes, sir.
And then after you check in with the bailiff, then you can go to the felony court. And once you finish your felony court, you need to come back here. And before you do that, Mr. Berry, I need to give you some bond conditions. I'm going to go over some bond conditions with you. And the document that I have is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Once I read this, we're going to make a copy and we're going to give you a copy. It says Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Following the return of a criminal information in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds are executed for release of any defendant named herein or ordered subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number 3 does not apply. Condition number 4 does not apply because the condition number 4 only applies in a DWI case. Your case is not a DWI case. However, condition number 5 does apply. Condition number 5 states the defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless the defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition? You cannot possess, let's see. You're prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Unless you are a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 of a penal code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Now, I know when you just asked, you say you can't get caught. Now, it says you cannot possess whether you've caught or not. Okay? So, you're going to get a copy of those bond conditions. And once you get a copy of those bond conditions, your case is going to be reset. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Now, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, you're going to be arrested, placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? All right. Just have a seat in one of those chairs on the wall. And then when she's ready, she's going to call you up to the window.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I need to get into the jail, and I probably won't be back out until after lunch. Do you mind if I go ahead and make my announcement?
Okay. First of all, let's see if your client is here.
Right, yeah, got probation.
Is this client here?
Yes. It's Miller on page 3.
Elijah Blaine Miller. Okay, he had a felony case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Miller, your full name is Elijah Blaine Miller.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Miller?
No, I have this.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Miller, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Brevin Jackson. He's appearing via Zoom. Mr. Jackson, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, now, Mr. Jackson, I was just informed that Mr. Elijah Miller has had a felony case, and that case was disposed of today.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Judge, I was not aware that the felony was disposed of. I had an agreement with the state. If you wouldn't mind just giving us a short reset, it will be disposed. It should be disposed of before we come back.
Well, do you work?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now he would have to take off from work again. You unable to be here today?
That's what I'm saying, Judge. I can't be there today, but the agreement was for dismissal, so I will coordinate that with the state, and
Oh, so, okay, so the misdemeanor case was supposed to be dismissed as part of the
that
felony plea bargain?
that was no, that was not part of the felony plea bargain. That was an agreement I had with Mr. Hoffmeyer before he moved over to the felony court. So I just need to figure out who's handling his misdemeanor case now, and bring them up to speed on that agreement.
Who is handling,
It's,
that's your case? Okay, so, hmm?
I said if the court was granted a short reset, I'll speak with Mr. Jackson on the case.
Right now? Oh, you said a short reset. Oh, you want me to reset the case so that you can talk to him?
Yeah, and I need to confirm with Mr. Hoffmeyer too.
Okay. Okay, give us a standard reset. Just to give standard short reset. You say you work?
Yes.
Oh, wow. This guy lives 4 hours away too.
Judge, I don't anticipate him having to come back. I mean, my expectation is that the dismissal will be able to be done off docket.
In the event that it's dismissed, he wouldn't have to reappear anyway, but like, with Mr. Jackson out here, if we did something other than dismissal, like, he would have to come back anyway.
Yeah, okay, give us now, I'm gonna do this here. If the case is, give us a reset date.
July 1st.
That's right. Now, if this case is
Judge-
not, well,
I'm sorry. I was going to say, if you, I mean, out of an abundance of caution, if you'd rather reset it till this afternoon, I can be there this afternoon to get it resolved either way.
okay, the prosecutor's just informed me that he doesn't know if he'll be able to speak to Kobe Hoffmeyer by this afternoon.
Okay. All right. Well, then I guess we will just have to reset it, Judge. But like I said, I expect it to be dismissed before Mr. Miller has to return to court.
Okay, now what was that date?
July 1st.
Now, this case is gonna be reset to July 1st of 2024. If the case is not dismissed, you have to be here. Okay, if the case is gonna be dismissed, I guess your attorney will notify you to let you know it's been dismissed. So, other than that, you need to stay in contact with your attorney and to find out whether or not the case is dismissed before this date.
Yes, sir.
So you won't have to make that trip. If not, I mean, if y'all don't contact, you come here and you find out that the case was dismissed, I don't think you'll be too happy. Yeah, all right. So we're gonna reset this case, July 1st, 2024. You're gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a safe trip back home.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Blessed day.
All right, Sam, you have a blessed day as well. And
Thank
Mr.
you, Judge.
Okay, your reset will be sent to you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, you're free to go.
Bye.
Okay. Mr. Gertz, just stuck his head in. Think you have somebody. Yeah, I saw your name on the docket. Let's see. That's the gentleman who, you represent him on 2 cases, and then one of the cases, he doesn't have an attorney.
We're representing, it's all still.
We don't have a rep level on that one.
Dante Spencer? Would you come forward? Okay,
You don't have to sign it. Oh.
This is like ongoing for a while.
okay, your full name is Dante Spencer? Mr. Spencer, court is in session in cause number 24 CCCR 0672, cause number 24 CCCR 0680. And on the last page, cause number 24 CCCR 0675. All 3 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Dante Spencer. Mr. Spencer, how are you doing? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Spencer, you represented in your first two cases by your Attorney Ryan Gertz. Mr. Gertz, how are you doing?
Good, Judge, thank you.
Mr. Gertz, what is your announcement in Mr. Spencer's cases?
The Judge, we were just hired on these, and in fact, our discovery shows that we just got it, the first rounds of discovery in these two misdemeanors, maybe a week and a half ago, so.
Okay,
So we'd ask for at least 8 weeks if we can get it to review.
okay, let me ask you this here. Now, this third case, it doesn't show that you represent him on that.
Tell me the third case number.
24CCCR 0675.
Zero six seven five.
Yeah. You got zero.
I'll have our office send that out right now.
Okay. Just give us a reset on that.
You want to set the felony?
Oh, you got a felony?
Yeah.
Oh,
June 24th.
That's fine.
we need a letter of rep.
Okay, I'm
The
gonna have
third
it
case.
send it, Judge. Yeah. I'll take care of it.
Okay, Mr. Spencer, you're gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you're free to go and you have a blessed day. Jim Abel West. Oh, it's gonna be a plea?
Yes.
Oh, we don't have, they working on
I'm working.
it. Just have a seat. Once they finish it, we'll get you back up. Yes. Okay, we're gonna do this beforehand. Next case is cause number 23CCCR 0374, case of style of the state of Texas versus Eric Lee Forehand. Mr. Forehand is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Forehand, you can take your mic off of mute. How are you doing, Mr. Forehand?
I'm good, Your Honor. How are you doing?
Doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Forehand, you represented in your case by your attorney Dustin Galmore. Mr. Galmore, how are you doing?
I'm great, Judge. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Galmore, what is your announcement in Mr. Forehand's case?
Judge, it looks like we're gonna be able to resolve this. We would ask, because Mr. Forehand is doing shutdown work right now, that we reset this for June the 3rd for disposition.
Okay, for a plea on June the 3rd. Eric Forehand, the first person on the pretrial conference docket.
Okay, you say June 3rd?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, case will be reset to June 3rd, 2024. Mr. Forehand, you need to be in court in person.
Yes, sir.
On that day, your case is reset to June 3rd, 2024 for a plea. This will conclude your case. You're free to go. Thanks for being patient with us and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Galmore, you can get your reset. And Mr. Galmore, I think that's your only case.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
You want to copy or you send it to y'all?
You send it.
Next case is cause number M328190, case of style of state of Texas versus Dennis Deshawn Carey.
This was Porter's case. I'm gonna step back in this one.
Ms. Porter, okay. All the Burbank's people will reset.
I'll look at that one again.
This is cause number M328190, case of style of the state of Texas versus Dennis Deshawn Carey. Mr. Carey, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Carey?
Pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Carey. You represented in your case by your attorney Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, what is your announcement in Mr. Carey's case?
We're ready.
State,
State's ready. I just have to speak with the defense regarding an offer, but we're ready.
okay, just have a seat. I'll let y'all talk. Hold on a minute. Jefferson County Court at law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 23-CCCR 2610. Case is styled the state of Texas versus John Patrick Simon. Mr. Simon. Is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Simon, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Simon, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Simon, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Simon?
Monday.
Well, it's Monday. That's true. Started a work week. Now, Mr. Simon, you're represented by your attorney, Attorney James Macon. Attorney Macon, how are you doing?
It's Monday morning, Your Honor, and a little chaos,
Okay. Yeah, as usual.
as usual.
Now, Mr. Macon, what is your announcement in Mr. Simon's case?
Your Honor, we're gonna do a plea here today for deferred adjudication.
Okay. Now, Mr. Simon, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor, or that's titled information sheet. This information sheet was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information sheet, it alleges that you, John Patrick Simon, on or about November 11th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of theft. Mr. Simon, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Simon, how did you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Mr. Simon, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document? This document is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. On page 2 of the same document, there are 2 sets of initials. First set of initials are JPS. Second set of initials is JM. JM is your attorney initial. Did you place your initials JPS?
Yeah.
Same line? On the next 2 boxes titled guilty. On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, that's titled trial court certification of the defendant's right of appeal, you recognize this document.
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes marked. First box that's marked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand this statement?
Yeah.
The second box that marked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up the right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Simon, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that he went?
Yes.
Is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Simon, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Stay up for stage 1.
Any objections?
No objections, States one.
No objections. States Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Macon, you've advised in counsel, Mr. Simon, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Simon, your attorney, Mr. Macon has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Simon, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
For plea of guilty, the state has offered 1 year deferred probation with a $200 fine, 40 hours community service, and restitution to Walmart of $185.97.
Okay. What is the court cost in this case? 277? Oh, I missed it. Okay. Mr. Simon, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the deferred probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs of $277. You'll also be required to pay probation fees of $60 a month, your analysis fee, $15 a month, and a reimbursement fee, $15. You'll also be required to pay restitution in the amount of $185.97 to Walmart. Your total monthly installments, that is a total amount that you'll be required to pay each month, is $141 a month. Will you be able to pay the $141 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You'll also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and condition of this probation. Now, Mr. Simmons or Mr. Simon, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Simon, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Simon, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. You're gonna stand in front of the court coordinator, follow the directions of the bailiff. Once you finish following the directions of the bailiff, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Yes. No. Okay. I just right. Mr. Mason said the nothing went to Jim West. Oh, that's a good. Yes, I see you.
Okay, the next case is cause number 23CCCR 0864. Case is style of state of Texas versus Jim Abel West. Mr. West, would you please come forward with your attorney? Mr. West, your full name is Jim Abel West.
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. West, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. West?
Doing pretty good today. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. West, you're represented by your attorney, Attorney James Macon. Attorney Macon, did you waive a record in Mr. West's case?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, I have before me a document that is titled Information Sheet. This information sheet alleges that you, Jim Abel West, on or about May 19th of 2023, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Now, the state, are you abandoning enhancement paragraph?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. West, the state is abandoning enhancement paragraph, and that means that instead of being charged with a Class A misdemeanor DWI, you're being charged with a Class B misdemeanor DWI. In essence, it's a lower offense or lesser included offense.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, to the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, which allegedly occurred on or about May 19, 2023 in Jefferson County, Texas, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place. How do you plead guilty? Not guilty or no contest?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. West, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, 2 sets of initials, JW and JSM.
Yeah.
JW. And that must be yours, J.
RW.
J.
JRM and JW. Mine's JW.
No, I'm talking about his is
Oh.
JR.
JRM. Now, are these your initial, did you place your initials next to your attorney initials, next to boxes checked guilty? Okay. Also on page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes marked. The first box that's marked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand this statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's marked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. You understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yes, sir.
Is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State,
Offer states one.
any objections?
No objection.
No objection. States exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Macon, you advised and counsel Mr. West, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. West, your attorney, Mr. Macon, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
For a plea of guilty or no contest, the state has offered 90 days probate over 1 year with a $500 fine, 50 hours community service, installation of an interlock device, and DWI for standard conditions of probation.
What is the court cost?
392.
392. Okay. Mr. West, state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine of $100, standard fine of $500. You'll also be required to pay court costs of $392. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 a month, your analysis fee of $15 a month, and reimbursement fee of $15. You also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month, is $173 a month. Will you be able to pay the $173 a month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 50 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend a completed DWI education class, have an alcohol assessment done, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Mr. West, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
You think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. West, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. West, this will conclude your case. You're gonna stand in front of the court coordinator, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Macon, you welcome. And Mr. Macon, this is your last case. You're free to go and you have a blessed day as well. Jefferson County Court Level Number 2 is back in session. Court is in session. In cause number M328190, case of South State of Texas versus Dennis DeShawn Carey. We have Mr. Carey before the court. He appeared earlier with his attorney, Attorney Willa Hall. State is also present with Attorney Erica Porter. The two parties announced earlier that they were going to talk. And Mr. Prosecutor, what is
I've had an opportunity to talk to, the defense. I, had to consult with someone,
Okay,
rather expert, in regards to CDL driving and stuff, and I need to speak back to the defense if possible for a few seconds.
okay. Let me do this. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 23CCCR 0864. Wrong one. Calls number, let's strike that. Calls number M332798. Case is style of state of Texas versus Matthew Canaan Downs. Matthew Downs was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. for the court's announcement docket. At about 9 a.m., court's bailiff called the name of Matthew Downs at the courthouse door. Matthew Downs did not answer. Matthew Downs has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. The time now is 11:49 a.m. on today's date of May 6, 2024. Ms. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Matthew Downs at the courthouse door?
Matthew Downs.
Matthew Downs' name was just called again at the courthouse door. Matthew Downs did not answer. A reasonable time has been given to Mr. Downs to appear in court. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion? That motion will be granted. Matthew Downs' bond will be forfeited and cause number M332798. Okay.